These are the Edified W830NBs. They're an upgrade to the previous generation W820NBs that I reviewed a couple of years ago, and I really liked those. But tech has come a long way since then. So are the W830NBs a pair of budget ANC headphones that are definitely worth buying or definitely worth missing? Well, with high-res audio, ANC, a 94-hour battery life, and at the moment on Amazon they're $68, well, they've certainly got a lot going for it, right? Let's get into it. Before I go any further, I do need to point out that Edified did send me these to review, but they're not paying for or sponsoring this video, so you will, as always, get my honest opinion. First, looking at the design and fit of these, and the headband itself is large and adjustable, so it's going to suit a large range of head sizes. There's a metal adjustable headband across the top, although it is plastic backed. It flexes well though, with very little creaking like you can get with some other cheaper headphones. There's nice soft padding on the top as well, covered in a PU leather. Moving on to the ear cups and the ear pads themselves, and there's a nice amount of tilt and swivel to help you get a good fit. The ear pads themselves are also nicely padded with nice thick foam pads. The foam is also firmer than I've seen on other budget headphones. The earbuds have a nice wide opening as well, which were more than enough for my ears. And these only weigh 267 grams. So you've got a headband that suits a large range of head sizes. You've got that firmer foam, which means that the ear pads and the ear cups don't press against your ears because the foam helps to keep them further away. I have had that problem with actually even more expensive headphones than these. And yet, despite that firmer foam, they're still comfortable to wear with glasses. So fit wise, I really don't have anything to complain about with these headphones. Look wise, I would say it's a nice understated design. They're not very big, they're actually quite slim against your ears, so I actually think they look pretty good. The only logo you've got is this Edify logo on the front. That's pretty much it. Also comes in a range of colours. You've got the grey one here, and it also comes in black and white. These headphones also fold inwards and upwards, so they're easy to stuff into a bag or a case. Well, you would if they came with a case, but they don't, which is a real shame. If you do decide to get these though, I have found that they actually fit in some other cases from some other manufacturers. So I tried it with the case from the Sony WH-1000XM4s. They're too big for that, but they do fit in the case of the Earfun Wave Pros. So if you can find that case, these headphones will fit into that. Still, I would have liked to have seen a case, or at least a pouch with these. That aside though, comfort, fit and look wise, you've got a pair of headphones that look good and are comfortable whilst you're wearing them. Now, connectivity wise, inside here we've got Bluetooth 5.4 and multi-point support, and it also supports SBC, AAC and high-res LDAC audio. There's also a game mode in here which reduces the latency of audio to 80 milliseconds to really help you out when you're doing some mobile gaming. And if you'd rather have it over a wired connection instead, there is no 3.5mm audio jack on here. However, you can listen to audio over USB-C cable plugged into the USB-C port here. Battery life, as I've mentioned before, is 94 hours, which is awesome. That is with ANC off though. If you turn ANC on, that does drop down to 54 hours. However, that's still better than a lot of other headphones are with ANC on. So the battery life on these is still good. Getting to the sound though, because that's pretty important. Well, inside these are a pair of 40mm drivers, which are fairly standard for a pair of headphones. And out of the box, I thought they had a fairly flat sound. I mean, Edified headphones are typically very bass heavy, so this is a very restrained pair of headphones from them, which I actually liked. There is some emphasis on the bass and the treble, it's just not over the top. I would recommend jumping into the Edify mobile app to mess around with the EQ to find the best sound profile that suits you though. And inside that mobile app, there's 4 EQ presets that you can choose from, or you can jump into the custom parametric EQ. It is only 4 bands, but you can select the specific frequency and Q factor of each band. So you've actually got a fair amount of customization. However, I think those kind of things of like setting your frequency level and your Q factor, well, audiophiles might like that, but the average Joe, and remember these are budget pair of headphones, well, I'm not too sure that they're going to benefit from using that. Fortunately, you can just leave it in the default settings and you've still got a fair amount of control over the audio. So once tweaked, for the price, I thought these actually sounded okay. The vocals and the instruments were clear, the bass was clean, if not overly excessive. So if you are a bass head, then you're probably going to want to look somewhere else. Having said that, Edify's own WH950NBs absolutely tick that box. So check those out if you're a bit of a bass head. They are more expensive though. There is also a spatial sound setting in the mobile app that you can use with these headphones, and my opinion of spatial audio is that in most cases it makes the sound worse than making it better. It messes around with the sound profile way too much, and you're better just leaving it in standard sort of stereo. That's the same for music, it's the same for movies as well. Isn't really criticism just of these pair of headphones. I pretty much say it for every pair that I look at. So I'd say don't bother with spatial audio, they sound way better without it. There's two levels for ANC, there's high and medium. To be honest, I'd just leave it in high, and the ANC itself is okay, if nothing exceptional. It blocks out a fair amount of that lower frequencies, but struggles with higher frequencies, which means some sounds do get through, but they lose their bassiness. Remember, these are budget pair of headphones, and they do okay. It's certainly better having it on than not if you're in a noisy environment. There is a wind noise reduction on here as well, and I thought that did a pretty good job of cutting out that wind noise whistling past your ears. There's also a transparency mode with 7 different levels of transparency as to how much noise it lets into your headphones. And that mode I thought did a good job. I mean, I could hear the outside clearly. It's not a mode I use that often, but it was more than good enough on these headphones. And of course there is noise cancellation off, where you can just turn it off and just listen to your headphones normally. Although, why buy a pair of ANC headphones if you're going to go do that? Unless you wanted to be able to use that massive 94-hour battery life, that is. And here's a mic test so you can hear how they sound if you need to take a quick call on these. This is a mic test of the Edified W830NB, so you can hear what it would sound like if you had to take a call on these in a quiet room. You'll now listen to the mic on the top of the camera with some simulated coffee shop noise playing in the background so you can hear what these are going to sound like in a noisy room. Now you listen to the mics on the Edified W830NB so you can hear how these mics are making my voice clear over the top of that background noise. So should you buy them? Well, I think the Edified W830NBs are well priced. They retail for $80, but as I said, at the moment on Amazon, they're only $68. And for the money, you're getting a pair of headphones that sound okay, they're comfy to wear, and they have fantastic battery life. However, the subpar mic, the average ANC, and not having a case might be a deal breaker for some. There are purchase links to these in the description down below so that you can go check them out for yourself. However, the sub $100 ANC headphone market is very saturated and there are lots of choices out there. So if you do want to look at some alternatives, then be sure to check out the link up here. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and share. Consider subscribing if you're not. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.